Thank you. Public announcements. At this time, if you would please silence all electronic devices, cell phones, etc. If you would wish to appeal any recommendation by this commission, appeal cards are to our right. If you wish to speak in front of the commission, we respectfully ask that you fill out a speaker's card for our records, and that at some point you please do so that we do have it for the record. Each side will be given 10 minutes, either for or in opposition of the matters in front of us, with 5 minutes of rebuttal. And we respectfully ask, if you wish to converse after each case, if you would exit the building as if you just go back into the lobby. It does reverberate back into the chamber. This time I would ask Commissioner Randolph to lead us in invocation, followed by Commissioner Matthews with the pledge.
Gracious Father, once again, we stand before you with bowed down heads but lifted hearts to say thank you for watching over us, our families, and this parish in a mighty way, Lord, as we experience your reign today. And we thank you for protecting us all. We thank you for this commission. We thank you for this government. And Heavenly Father, we ask that you allow us to make decisions that's in the best interest of all. In all these blessings we ask in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In our packages, we have the minutes of the March 10th meeting. I would ask for any motions to be made. Commissioner Matthews?
Motion to approve as written.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews, a second by Commissioner Lauren. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Randolph? Seeing no further discussion, please vote. Motion for approval passes. This is a public hearing. The public is encouraged to participate if you so desire. Consent calendar. Any items not pulled from the consent calendar are automatically dispensed by vote as approved and/or as per staff comments. Items pulled from the consent calendar shall be discussed and voted upon individually. Staff, are there any you wish to be pulled?
Yes, sir. There's one that needs to be pulled on the second page, but I would defer to Mr. Matthews, who may wish to pull some of his own.
Staff defers to Commissioner Matthews. Is there anyone in the public wish to make comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
To make it easy for the staff, we'll pull everything off the consent calendar.
Mr. Matthews. We have a motion and a second to pull everything from the consent calendar. Please vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, servitudes and easements. Excuse me. Entering parish right-of-way, Molitor Street, Ward 4, District 7. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of gaining access to property. The debtor, Claire and Bruce Ennis. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Jacob Groby. Staff?
Yes, this is a request to enter the parish right-of-way in the town of Mandeville unincorporated subdivision for the purpose of gaining access to the property.
Does anyone from the public wish to comment? Seeing no comment, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, is Mr. and Mrs. Ennis here?
I'm Kenny Adams, Integrity Builders. I'm the one building the house for them, and we talked to Mr. Earl. They just wanted to have, access to come in there, and so we were just requesting access. They have that whole square, a little over 500 by 500, and they put in their property. They just wanted, they actually have a road there, it's gravel, I talked to Mr. Earl, and he said we just had to bring it up to parish standards.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, but my question is, the property goes all the way to Solt, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, will there be any entrance on that property on Solt, or do
No,
you
sir.
just imagine
This'll
having
be-
it coming from the back?
Yes, sir. They wanted.
Excellent, excellent, thank you. Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Davis. Mr. Matthews.
Yeah, I think you might have answered the question, but I want to make sure. This is an existing parish road, and you're going to actually extend the parish road 100 feet?
Yes, sir, just to get that driveway in, and it's a gravel road. We're just gonna bring it up to parish standards,
Okay,
that 100
but
feet.
you are going to bring the road up to the standards of the existing roadway?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Counsel?
And, sir, are there any other residences within that square?
No, the whole big section there, the Passantines own it, and they have been just using the road as access to their property. They own all the squares all around there. And this gentleman here purchased that one square, so we just, they've been using the gravel road to access their property. We're just trying to bring that up, put it proper in there. But that's who owns the rest of it, the Passantines.
So the entirety of the square is undeveloped?
Yes, sir. This square here it borders Solt, and it comes down, and it's just, it's all grass cut, it's cleaned up. But the rest of the squares that Molitor would run into is all owned by the Passantine family.
You can put one residence on this?
One residence on that
On the
whole
square.
square. So it's 500 by 500. They're putting up a gorgeous home in the middle of it, and they just wanted the privacy.
Thank you.
Commissioner Richard?
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Richard. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I ask for a vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, Nellie Drive and Danny Street, Ward 8, District 14. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of installing an 8-inch water line. Debtor, AT&T. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable T.J. Smith. Staff?
Yes, this is permission to enter the parish right-of-way, specifically portion of Nellie Drive and Danny Street, for the purpose of installing an 8-inch water line.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Yeah, there's nobody from AT&T here, I guess? Good.
Yes, sir. I'm Angie Emard from J.V. Burks. I'm the engineer on the project, representing AT&T.
And, find my plat. I had a little difficulty with understanding the plat. It's probably my fault, but exactly what is going in and where is it going? Can you tell me?
We are going to be connecting to the existing water line that's on Fremo, going down the Nellie Drive and then down Daney Street to access the AT&T property. The water line will be installed beneath the existing ditch.
Okay. And staff, there's a item on here, number 9. It said petitioner shall submit a copy of the current owner's deed. Which owner are they going to submit the copy of?
Yeah, this
All of
would
them?
be AT&T submitting a current owner's deed of the property that this water is actually tying into, not the street property, that's parish property.
Okay, so they have to submit the deed of their property. AT&T owns it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move to approve.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Matthews, a second by Commissioner Randolph to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, Valmont Street, Ward 4, District 10. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of gaining access to property. The debtor, Judith Chatelain. The Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Maureen O'Brien. Staff?
Yes, this is a request to enter the parish right-of-way, specifically the unopened portion of Valmont Street, Town of Mandeville, unincorporated subdivision, for the purpose of gaining access to property.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment?
Yes, I am the owner of those 6 lots that I obtained, and the first lot is street side on Albert, and I'm looking to develop alongside of my current lots on Valmont. It's a forested section. I'm not looking to tie all the way in throughout. I just would need 180 feet to access my back lots.
And if you would state your name and address for our record.
Judith Chatelain, 1013 Albert Street, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70448.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Miss? So you won't be building the road all the way between Colbert and Albert Street, 570 feet?
It's forested. It's undeveloped property. I only would need access to the back lots.
So you're only going to build it so far up to a certain lots and then?
Preferably, yes.
Well, I have a question for staff. Let's say she sells 2 of the lots right up front. Does she still have to build a turnabout at the end of the road if it's not completely constructed all the way to Colbert?
Yeah, she wouldn't be able to sell those properties until all this would be resolved and we had it as-built and everything. This resolution was completed, and the construction was completed.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Matthews?
Yeah, Steph, number 17, you're asking for a plat. Generally, we get a plat to look at. Why have we not gotten that for tonight?
Well, typically, we wait for the commissioner's approval or denial before we start requesting things that may cost the applicant money to
Well, most of
furnish.
these have a plat attached to them telling us what they're going to be doing, where they're going to be going.
Right. If you look at the ordinance for any of the parish right-of-way, the applicant really only has to request, tell them what they're looking for and how far they're going into and for what purpose they want to enter the right-of-way.
I mean-
Now, if they do have a plat, I don't believe she had a plat when she purchased the properties. Is that correct?
I did not.
Yeah.
It's not in record.
If the item before it and the item after it all have attached plats. So we can get an idea as to what's really happening. Here, we're kind of guessing, kind of gray, what she's planning. It's not your fault, I understand. It's difficult to explain
It's the staff's
sometimes.
fault.
But, it's difficult for us to understand exactly what she's planning to do, and we're being asked to approve something, and it's kind of a gray area. We really don't know what's going on. I prefer us to get something that shows us what the petitioner is planning on doing.
Just as a point of clarification, current ordinance does not require that, correct?
Correct.
So though Commissioner Matthews' point is well taken, we would need to change the current ordinance in order to expect that from any petitioner, correct? Thank
Well,
you.
most petitioners do provide it, which makes it a whole lot easier for us to approve it.
Sir, excuse me, if I may speak, I do have this map, the map that I was given for the approval process. Is this the same one? Okay, okay. Okay, sir, okay. It still is vague, yes, I understand that. Thank you, sir.
If I may.
Mr. Savant?
Jeremy, I believe the resolution says that a performance letter of credit will be due in the amount of $7,200.
Correct.
How was that dollar amount determined?
That was based on the linear footage that she came, I think 180 was the determination, and then for asphalt, for that was calculated that way.
So she intends to open 180 feet of the right-of-way? That's your understanding?
That's my understanding, yes.
Does that sound correct, ma'am?
That is correct. And it will be two-lane width as well for the street, so there is access to back
If-
out and drive.
Would you come, if you would be kind
Yeah,
enough to come to the
sorry.
podium? Thank you.
Yes, it is a two-way street. I mean, two width.
Right, so
Two-car
cars can
width.
pass each other.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
And this will be brought up to parish standards?
Yes, I'd
Yes.
like to make that clear. It would have to be brought up to parish standards
Correct.
according to our current ordinances.
Correct.
Which is
Correct.
asphalt.
Asphalt.
Correct.
Tying into what it is, let me see, it'd be right
It is currently asphalt.
asphalt, yes.
Right, okay.
Are there any further questions? Okay. Is there any motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll
Commissioner
make-
Richard.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lauren, a second by Commissioner Richard to approve. Please vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, Moores Road, Ward 4, District 10. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying and connecting a sewer force main and stormwater discharge pipe. The debtor, Leisure Recreation and Entertainment, Inc., Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Maureen O'Brien. Staff?
Yes, this is permission to enter the parish right-of-way, specifically portion of Moores Road, road ID number RO4C029, for the purpose of laying and connecting a 2-inch sewer force main and a 3-inch stormwater discharge pipe. If you see the letter before this, dated April 7th, 2015, this was already approved under resolution number 13-113. There were some issues with getting servitudes through specific lots, so they actually had to move it down a little bit. So there was already a performance obligation was established of $13,000. And then if you go to the resolution number 7, where it goes to $14,600, that was just for the extra linear footage of the pipe now.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Staff, what exactly has changed in this? Is it just that they've moved it a little further north? Is that correct?
Yeah, what I believe was they were trying to, if you look at your map over here, Pinnacle Engineering LLC dated April 14, 2015, I believe they wanted to go 1 lot south, or maybe even 2 lots south, 2 property lines south, but they couldn't obtain servitudes to put utilities through there, so they had to go this route, which extended the length of needing to enter the parish right away on Moores Road.
And all the connections, or the two, I guess there really are, connections here that they bore under the road and then tie into the existing parish right-of-way, those are the same, or have those moved?
Those would be the same. They would have to meet parish standards, so I'm not quite sure if that resolution that was approved earlier actually submitted plans yet, being they may have tried to work out servitude issues with the property owners prior to coming up with plans. But they would essentially be the same if they did submit them, yes.
And this is the typical end of the parish right-of-way. They're going to go under the road and
Yes,
Make
sir,
sure
is the
repaired if
typical
it needs to be.
parish right-of-way for installing utilities.
move to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Matthews to approve,
Second.
second by Commissioner Randolph. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I ask for a vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, West Shore Drive, Ward 1, District 1. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of making roadway improvements. The debtor, Allstate Financial Company. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Marty Dean. Staff?
Yes, this is permission to enter the parish right-of-way, specifically a portion of West Shore Drive, Colonial Pinnacle, Nord-Delac subdivision for the purpose of roadway improvements. And what they're looking to do here is tear up 100 feet of existing asphalt and replace it with concrete, stamped concrete for decorative look. Now, this is going to be right south, 100 feet prior to getting to that West Shore extension that was already approved last year. I don't have the resolution number, that they're actually in the process of building right now. So they're trying, I would imagine they're trying to get this approved so they can pour concrete all at one time.
Open it to the public. Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone on behalf of Allstate Financial Company. As staff just mentioned, this is the property that is adjacent to the dedicated but unopened portion of the right-of-way that I appeared before you on 2 different occasions last year. One, to enter that right-of-way for the purpose of clearing it, and second was for the purpose of constructing the roadway in it. If you'll recall, to the north of that dedicated roadway, excuse me, is the Wayner family property that has been zoned, and we've been through planning for the residential subdivision. This is the access way to that area. The purpose of this request is simply to give a better appearance, a more upscale and decorative appearance to that entrance. We're going to have concrete going forward, and we wanted to change this from the existing asphalt to the stamped concrete simply to raise the aesthetics of the area. So we'd respectfully request your approval and allow us to enter the right-of-way for that purpose.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Staff, I just had really one question on number 9. We talked about the whole harmless agreement until the time the access is upgraded to parish standards. Isn't that going to be pretty much immediately? I mean, they're going to redo this to parish standards, I assume.
Correct. It's going to be done to parish standards. It would be accepted in the parish selective road maintenance system once the warranty obligation expires, outlined in number 8. So it's just typical lingo for these boilerplates that we put together for the resolutions.
Okay, well, until the time the access is upgraded to parish standards is something I haven't seen, but into the parish selective road maintenance system, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that this was not going to be brought up to parish standards sometime in the future.
Well, it's already,
From what they're saying, and the project, I know couldn't imagine they were not going to be doing it.
it's already
parish
in
standards.
the maintenance system. That's the
It's already in the
request-
maintenance system?
That's the request for entering the parish right away. But once it's already to parish standards, but there will be a warranty obligation put on that to make sure that nothing happens to it. And then at that time, once the warranty obligation expires, it will be taken back into the parish will start maintaining it from there on out.
Okay.
If that makes
I think I
sense.
understand that. Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Matthews to approve. Commissioner Lauren.
Paul, just a second. I think I understand exactly where we're talking about, but I want to just make sure.
Certainly.
That would be the entryway that'll go just to the east of where the Academy Sports Pet Mart is. Going back to the subdivision, it'll be behind those places?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's
Then
correct.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is seconded by Commissioner Lauren. So we have a motion by Commissioner Matthews, second by Commissioner Lauren. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, I ask for a vote. Motion carries. Minor subdivisions, MS 15-03-012, a 3.88 acre parcel into tracts 1A, 1B, and 1C, Ward 10, District 6. The owner, Dragonfly Enterprises, Inc., Surveyor John G. Cummings and Associates, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Richard Tanner. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The owner is proposing to create 3 parcels from one parent parcel. The reason why the public hearing is required is that it is being accessed by one of the parcels with a private drive. Since the private drive will only access one parcel to the rear, the private drive is not required to be built to a parish standard per subdivision regulations 40-40 or 045.01, minimum standards of a private drive. Therefore, the staff has no objection to the proposed minor subdivision requests.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Lauren.
Yes, I have one question. Ron, looking at the plot that we were given, I can understand coming off of Becker Street is, that driveway is gonna be just on the right, on the left side of the lot,
It's going to be on the south side running,
south side.
yes, sir.
Okay, well, as I see it, it's gonna give access to lot 1B, but we're dividing it into 3, and what will be the access to lot 1C?
Well, again, if you look at the survey plat, you'll see there's a 35-foot wide servitude of access. You see approximately in the middle of tract 1-B where it shows the termination of the actual maintenance of the parish right-of-way of Becker Street. Then from that point, it continues to the back lot as a private servitude of access.
Okay, but that would be the right-of-way, but I guess what I'm saying is, would they then have to come back and upgrade that road?
No, sir, they do not, no.
Okay.
Because the access is, the access is already on, the public road right-of-way is already on the second parcel. They'll need to make, they'll need to make the improvements on tract 1-B up to that point where it meets 1C, yes, yes.
Okay.
And that's why they show the turnaround, they have to make those improvements.
Commissioner Randolph.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion by Commissioner Randolph, a second by Commissioner Richardson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I ask for a vote. Motion carries. MS 15-03-013. A 0.822 acre parcel into parcels A and B, Ward 3, District 2. The owner, Marilyn Brunel. The surveyor, John G. Cummings and Associates. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Dennis Sharp. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason why the public hearing is required for this minor subdivision is that both parcels do not meet the parish minimum lot size with requirements for an A1 suburban zoning district, and, lot size and the width requirement. The owner is proposing to create two parcels from one parent parcel. Parish code requires that lots within an A1 suburban zoning district must have a minimum width of 300 feet of road frontage and a minimum of 5 acres in size, and that's based on density requirements. However, the owners already have two existing homes on this small parcel and simply want to re-subdivide in order to create independent parcels for record for each. Since a waiver of the regulations are required in order to approve this minor subdivision request relative to the lot frontage and lot size issue, a 2/3 majority vote of the full membership of the commission, 8 members, is needed in order to approve pursuant to Section 40-100 waiver of regulations of subdivision ordinance 499.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
I guess the owner or developer is not here?
No, I'm here.
Okay. I'm a little concerned with this. Everything surrounding this piece of property is clearly 1A zoning, large lots, 5 acres of the type. This lot itself is less than 1 acre, and you're requesting to divide it into 2 parcels. One parcel, I don't think would fit in many, if any, zoning classifications. Parcel B is 2/10 of an acre. I just don't understand why we would be wanting to do this.
Well, it just already exists. I bought it that way. So when I bought it, it didn't conform.
But
And-
it's one parcel, and now you want to make it even smaller parcels.
Well, I want to, well, but yes, and I want to do it so that for my retirement and so I can split it from my children and to make it easier. But they exist anyway, and it's with the houses the way they are, it's going to be difficult to sell if I ever decide to sell it.
Well, you bought it that way.
Right.
So somebody would buy it. You did.
Well,
It just, doing this just does not conform to anything that our zoning ordinance, and this is not zoning, this is planning, but still, it just seems to make this a very strange parcel, and I just can't see a reason to do this.
Mr. Matthews, may I speak?
Please.
The staff kind of agrees with you. I mean, if you look at it like the lady said, there are two houses on the property. So if you were to, say, subdivide it, it really has no effect on the current density because obviously they couldn't add another house to the property. However, having said that, there is always a possibility, since the staff doesn't know what shape these houses are in, that if one of these houses end up being demolished, somebody could build a brand-new house on a substandard lot. That's why you want to take that into consideration, and rather than just think, oh, there's already two houses on the property, so no harm, no foul. There's always that possibility that one of those houses could be demolished, and then a brand-new house could be built, and you're always going to have two houses on that property. Under the current regulations, if one of those houses have to be demolished because they no longer can be lived in, it becomes non-conforming, and therefore it could revert back to just a one-house property. Is that understood?
Up to a point, and then you lost me.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Well, what I'm saying is that because the lot currently is substandard, but it has two houses on it, it's allowed to exist under a grandfather clause.
I understand that.
But if one of the houses, if you didn't subdivide the property, left it as one piece of property, and one of the houses became dilapidated to a point where it needed to be torn down and removed, that it would be considered non-conforming, and if 6 months were to go by and they did not replace that house with another house, they would not be able to put another new house on the property. They would only be able to keep one on it.
But they could put a new one, if it burned down or
Yes,
whatever,
yeah.
within 6 months, they could start construction of another house and put
That is correct.
a large
is
house
correct.
on there and
Right.
make it.
That's correct. But the main point I'm making is that if you grant this re-subdivision, that'll guarantee them be able to do it, and it wouldn't be non-conforming because you would be granting approval to re-sub.
But if we don't,
If you don't approve it, they're allowed to keep it as it is, but again, subject to the grandfather rules. But if you subdivide it and they have one house on each lot, then the grandfather doesn't apply anymore because you're creating two lots of record and they can build a house on each lot of record. So they could remove both houses, but if you grant them the resub, they could build brand-new houses on each one of those lots, and the grandfather clause doesn't apply. Only it applies if you don't subdivide it. Yes.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Savan, if you would,
My only question, Ron, would be, would your view be different if this property was viewed as having a house plus a guest house on it at the current time?
Yes, because the only reason why Parish would allow guest houses if the property is at least 1 acre in size. In this case, it's not.
Commissioner Willie.
Yes, I don't have a problem with the re-subdivision of the lot based upon that there's two houses, but my concern is, what about the utilities such as sewer or septic tanks? Or, I know, is that line, I don't know where they place that on the property.
they're separate.
I mean, are they on both sides of the line?
Yes,
Where
on
the new lines that you
opposite
draw?
sides of the line,
Yeah.
yes.
I move for approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Willie,
Thank you.
second by Commissioner Casabon. Commissioner Casabon, do you have any further comment that you'd like to make?
Yes, the density, even if you did a house, if it burned and they did put a new house, it does not affect the density. This particular area, I think these houses been there how long? Jesus, yeah, very long time. and familiar with the area, and I don't think if there was a new house that was built there, the neighbors would have a problem, but it does not increase the density.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Willie to approve, a second by Commissioner Casabon. Is there any further comment? Seeing none, I ask for a vote. Motion for approval carries by more than a two-thirds majority. Petitions requests, we have none. Entering the Tammany Trace, we have none. Revocations and closing review. Rev 14-12-002, a revocation of a portion of Algiers Street, Slidell, Louisiana, Ward 8, District 12. The applicant, Own Your Own LLC, the surveyor, J.V. Burks and Associates, Inc., Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Jerry Bender. Postponed at the March 10th, 2015 meeting. Applicant requests postponement indefinitely to be pulled from agenda. Staff?
Yes, sir. We're getting close. As you recall, this has been on the agenda for the last several months. The problem that we're having is that the owner's having a difficult time finding the owner on the north side of Algiers Avenue, which is required by the code to get a formal letter of no objection from that owner. But a full abstract has been done. The owner has been identified. Just a matter of now trying to get a hold of that owner so we can get that letter from him. So we don't know how long that's going to take. So the petitioner asked it to be withdrawn and definitely to be put back on the agenda once that information has been provided to us.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public, bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
If we postpone this indefinitely, don't we then have to vote to bring it back up? It can't just automatically go on the agenda.
That's right, correct. If it comes in front of the commission and the commission were to postpone indefinitely versus to a specific date, then staff would come back to the commission and ask the commission to vote to put it back on its own agenda, for which then further discussion.
That's correct.
So we just want to make sure, I think, as Commissioner Matthews, as parliamentarian, wants to make sure that that's the intent of the petitioner.
It wouldn't just go back on the agenda. It would have to come for us, we'd vote
It
on
would
it, and
require,
then
it would
the
require
next
me to
month.
give you formal notice at a public hearing, and then you would make the vote, yes.
And then the
yes.
next month, it would be on the
That's
agenda.
correct, right.
Okay, just as long as we were clear on that.
Thank you for that clarification.
Move to postpone indefinitely.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Matthews, second by Commissioner Randolph to postpone indefinitely. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries. Re-subdivision review, RS 15-03-026, River Forest Country Club, Square 3, Lot 6, into Lots 6A and 6B, Ward 1, District 3. Petitioner, Pleasantville LLC. Surveyor, John G. Cummings and Associates, Inc. Owner, Pleasantville LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The owner of the property is proposing to re-subdivide Lot 6, and please refer to your plats attached, into two smaller parcels to utilize exclusively for access to two technically landlocked acreage parcels behind said lot. Again, see surveys and the narrative attached from the applicant's attorney. The staff has no objection to the re-subdivision request based on the circumstances, and has required the owner to provide an appropriate language on the survey plat, specifically noting that said lots are to be used for access purposes only to the acreage parcels behind said lot.
Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Paul Marone on behalf of the petitioner. We have an unusual set of circumstances that bring me here this evening. To try to boil this down to a quick explanation, if you will look at the plats that are in your package, in particular, not the resub plat, but the plat of the larger area that sets forth a 13.32 acre parcel, a 5.23 acre parcel, and a 20.62 acre parcel. All of this property, all of those parcels, those three larger acreage parcels, are landlocked today. They do not have legal access to a public roadway. How that happened is convoluted and would take me a very long time to explain it, but suffice it to say that it involved several foreclosures, a number of sheriff sales, and just some odd circumstances that ended up where the owner of Lot 6, which is the lot to be subdivided, is not the owner of the 13.32 acre parcel, but is the owner of the 20.62 acre parcel and the 5.23 acre parcel. So as you might imagine, when there is so much confusion, it ends up in litigation. And that's where it was, and that's where it is right now, although through that process, the owners of the 13.32 acre parcel and the owners of the 20.62 and 5.23 have worked out a resolution. Ultimately, in the end, what everybody wanted and needed was legal access. The only way to get legal access is through Lot 6. The good news is Lot 6 was under the control of one of the parties. The other good thing is that Lot 6 has for a very long time been the physical access way to these parcels. If you went out there today and drove this property, you'd see a gravel road there. So what we are doing is asking to re-subdivide Lot 6, which has already served as the physical access to these properties, so that the 13.32 acre parcel can be the owner of Lot 6B. Essentially, that owner can own its driveway. And the owner of the other two acreage parcels, the 5.23 and the 20.62, will continue to own Lot 6A, which will allow them to own their driveway. That will resolve the dispute. That will also provide legal access to all of this acreage back there, and will make everybody very happy if you would be willing to consider that request. I've worked with staff on this issue. We met with Ms. Debbie Hinton in the parish's legal department to go through this scenario. You'll notice on the face of the re-subdivision plat that there are several notations that these parcels 6A and 6B are for access purposes only, and only for access to the rear. The purpose of that is to put everybody on notice going forward that these are not buildable sites, but rather are for access only. Finally, the other aspect of this, which is somewhat helpful, is that if you look closely at the resub plat, there's a very large overhead power line that already dissects this piece. So it was really never a buildable site, so to speak. So using it as access made sense. That's what's been done in the past. We just want to have the ability to create legal access, and that's the purpose of our request to you this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of the commissioners may have.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Casabon.
I've been on this too long. You made perfect sense to me. I understand. I'll make a
That is a
motion to
compliment.
approve. That scares me.
Thank you. Thank you. First time for everything.
Yes.
Commissioner Matthews.
Paul, I only have one question. Do we need to place a deed restriction on this property to make sure that it will never be used for anything but access? Is that necessary, staff?
That issue was discussed with legal, and legal said that we couldn't make them do that.
No, I understand
It's a
that.
private covenant. It's up to them. They can do that if they desire to do that.
We don't have any objection to doing that. That is our intent, and that's why the language on the plat. So if it would make the commission feel more comfortable, we're certainly willing to do that.
I just think that would clear up any concern. And I assume if we don't agree to do this, we'll probably get summons from the 22nd Judicial District Court wondering why he has to go to trial.
That is probably what would happen next.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Matthews to approve, but I would ask for a point of, oh, did you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I heard you liked his comment. We have a motion by Commissioner Casabon, a second by Commissioner Matthews to approve. I'm going to get it right. However, with Mr. Matthews' question, I would defer to council at this point to clarify how this commission makes any statements regarding restrictive covenants for property.
Well, my first reply would be that if the applicant would be willing to volunteer a deed restriction on the parcel so as to avoid, or hopefully help avoid, any future conflicts as to the ownership or use of that lot, I think that would be very beneficial to the parish to have done. Again, if your client is willing to do so. And further, Paul, I think that I kind of want to support that opinion with a question that perhaps you've thought about. What happens sometimes in the future should any of these large acreages wish to develop into subdivisions? Does your client or clients foresee that same Lot 6 being used as the ingress and egress into those future subdivisions? And if so, how, if in any way, does that potentially impact River Forest Country Club?
Well, that's a good point, several good points. And first, with regards to the deed restrictions, we recognize that the parish does not mandate that, but voluntarily, we're willing to do that because that is our intent here, and so we're willing to put that in place. But to your other question, which is a good question, we've got almost 26 acres on one hand and 13.32 acres on the other. The issue of development of these parcels came up extensively in our discussions between the parties as we tried to figure out a way to resolve this. And I will tell you that there are agreements in place between these parties that really would not allow anything more than a family compound or a minor subdivision on the vast acreage here. So if the 25.83 acres were to be developed, there are agreements in place that would not go beyond the 5 lots that would be allowed for a minor subdivision. Under the minor subdivision, of course, the road right-of-way requirement is 35 feet, so we're at 40, so we meet that. So we do not envision, based on the terms of our settlement, that we would go beyond a minor subdivision or a family compound on the 25.83 acres.
But you can't comment as to the 13-acre parcel?
Same with the 13.32 acre parcel. We do not envision that being developed in a traditional fashion where you would see an A4 development or 30 or 40 lots in that area. No.
I think Ron might want to
Yeah,
make a comment.
I need to just kind of correct a little bit what's been said regarding a minor subdivision issue. What we're doing here is we're re-subdividing a lot within an existing subdivision. It is not in and of itself a public roadway. Minor subdivision ordinance requires that you have to have at least one lot with public road frontage. These properties do not have that. They're landlocked, and they're accessing through a private lot or in a subdivision. So unless that roadway was somehow in the future dedicated to the parish, they wouldn't be able to subdivide it.
Thank you.
Without a waiver or something of those.
No,
those
Paul,
orders.
the regulations are quite specific, and legal has made the interpretation that under the minor subdivision rules, you cannot petition an application unless at least one of the lot has public road frontage. You cannot waive that.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, Paul, I would just, you might want to make a recommendation to the owners of both those 6A and 6B to put private driveway signs from
Right.
Meadowlark. That way,
Right.
nobody just randomly starts driving down there and saying, what's going on?
Right, good point.
Commissioner Matthews?
Ron, if they dedicated the roadways to the parish, and the parish accepted the dedication, then they could make minor
Certainly.
subdivisions.
Certainly, yes.
Would these right-of-ways be sufficient to be dedicated to the parish as public roads?
Well, yeah.
One's
bec-
35 and one's
Well, they
40.
would have to, obviously, they'd have to build it to a parish standard, but I believe there's at least, 60-foot wide, right, 60-foot wide lot, or
Yes.
a little more than that? So, yeah, they would have enough in order to do a dedication to create that public road frontage and dedicate it and do a minor subdivision.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 35 feet on one and 40 feet on the other is sufficient?
Well, what they'd have to do probably is go back and re-subdivide it into one parcel and dedicate it to the parish as a roadway.
Oh, goodness, okay. Well,
We're not there yet, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to
Which
it.
is not the intent, which is not the intent at this point.
which will probably give Paul some more work to do. Do we have a motion to
Yes.
approve this?
We do have a motion by Commissioner Casabon, a second by Commissioner Willie to approve.
like it's
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion carries. RS 15-04-028, Town of Mandeville, Square 242, and a portion of 257 into lots 1 through 29, Ward 4, District 7. Petitioner, James Coate. Surveyor, Kelly McHugh and Associates, Inc. The owner, James Coate. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Jake Groby. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The owner is proposing to re-subdivide a square, excuse me, and a portion of another square, the town of Mandeville Squares, into 29 lots. The reason for a public hearing is due to the fact that at least 5 lots are being created from these parcels. However, because this proposal is akin to a hybrid-type subdivision, in that new lots are being created within undivided squares, but within an existing subdivision of record, certain requirements are applicable relative to drainage and street infrastructure. The developer has been advised of these issues and has acknowledged that he understands the said requirements that he has to meet, which are as follows. The developer agrees to provide all aspects of the drainage and detention requirements pursuant to subdivision ordinance 499. And since the project will be using public roadways during construction, a funded maintenance letter obligation in the amount of $10,000 is required in accordance with subdivision ordinance 499 to ensure the repair of parish roads in case of damage. And the third point, since the proposed new roadway, which is Belle Maison Lane, is being dedicated to the parish, the street needs to be constructed to a parish standards and dedicated to the parish prior to the re-subdivision plat being recorded for public record. Under those conditions of agreement, the staff recommends approval.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment?
Good evening. Bill McGee on behalf of the petitioner. You may recall we had a very contentious zoning proceeding in the fall of last year where we proposed changing the zoning of these two parcels. We ended up, with the help of Mr. Matthews and Mr. Davis, having a community meeting with the subdivision of Maroney Trace and Monterey and worked out a compromise on the density. The proposal that appears here is almost identical to the conceptual drawing that we presented at the community meeting. And I've since communicated with Maroney Trace and Monterey representatives, and they have indicated that they believe that we have complied substantially with the agreement that we made with them on the density, which is 2.7 homes per acre, and a total of 29 lots, and you'll see on here there are 29 lots. Also, we committed to them that we would not seek to construct the extension of Albert Street, and we've complied with that part of the agreement as well. So we agree with the conditions that Mr. Keller stated about what we're required to do to have this subdivision approved, and I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Ron, explain to me why this does not have to go through the regular subdivision process of tentative and preliminary and final?
Right, well, as I indicated, it's like a hybrid, in fact, that it's already in a subdivision of record. You can't make them do a subdivision that's already in a subdivision, so
But they're
that's basically
completely
it.
changing that subdivision of record, are they not?
What's that?
They're completely changing the subdivision of record.
No, they're
the lots are
re-subdividing.
all different. I mean,
They're
these are-
re-subdividing 2 squares into 29 lots. Now, in the past, we've had many cases where this has been done, but just not to this scale. If you remember last month, we had one in the town of Mandeville Squares where the guy created 1 square or half a square into 7 lots. But this just happens to be one where it's almost 2 squares total, and they're dividing into 29. So the staff has reviewed it based on the fact that they have to meet all the requirements of 499 as if it was a standalone subdivision. That's why these comments were made regarding drainage and streets, to make sure that they would comply with all the aspects of their subdivision ordinance. I say it's a weird thing. We haven't had anything like this before.
Do we have something in our ordinances that describes a hybrid subdivision?
No, sir. That's my term.
Okay, good term, but it's just, I'm a little bit perplexed that we seem to be going from dead stop to full-blown subdivision on one scrap of paper here, and, not much more, from our standpoint.
Well,
You all have,
yeah.
I'm sure have looked at
The
this
staff was
as you
concerned as
do.
well, and again, we looked at it as if we were looking at a new subdivision, knowing that legally we didn't have the right to make them go through the subdivision process, because it's already in an existing subdivision of record, town of Mandeville Squares. We looked at all aspects of drainage, streets, infrastructure, lot sizes, setbacks, all that kind of good stuff. So we've all done that. We've met with the developer a few times. We've done a lot of correspondence through the phone and emails with them to get to this point where we are tonight.
But-
And we feel comfortable with the proposal.
And I understand, and, you all do a great job with that, but we're being asked to approve a subdivision with very little, if any, information, and it just, it unnerves me somewhat, and I don't like that
Well,
feeling when we do it that way.
And again, I don't know what else we could require them to do under the ordinance.
I don't necessarily either, I just don't like.
Sure, I understand.
One sheet of paper here and.
I understand it
approve
is,
subdivision.
it is a unique situation, yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, it's just looking at the subdivision growth adjacent to this property too. It looks like one of these 2 pieces of property right next to it, looks like east to it, has about 21 homes. So with 2 parcels at 29, it's actually a reduction in density.
Well, that was something that we agreed to do.
Right. So,
As
I mean,
part of our-
And so with that being said, I'm still a little hesitant about not seeing tentative and preliminary and all that stuff. But even for final, who goes out there and just says, okay, everything's good? That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, again, just like we do with a final subdivision approval, before the plats are recorded,
Right.
streets and infrastructure, including drainage, retention, ditches, everything has to be done and approved by engineering before the plats can be recorded.
Okay, but we won't see it. Is that correct?
You will not see it you will not see it anymore. That's correct.
All right, I trust you. I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Davis to approve,
Second.
second by Commissioner Drum. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you. This was certainly much easier than the zoning hearings.
You got better people. The commission, you never know who's going to be on the commission. Tentative subdivision review. preliminary subdivision review. SD 07-04-009P. Tantella Ranch, Ward 1, District 3. Developer owner, Bruno Brothers Real Estate Management and Development. The engineer, Aero Engineering and Construction. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. The developer is requesting a name change to Magnolia Mound, see under Old Business. This was postponed at the March 10th, 2015 meeting. The applicant requests postponement. Staff?
Yes, sir. Again, they're asking postponement. There are still several items outstanding that need to be addressed, so they requested to be tabled or postponed.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Darrell with Aero Engineering, Darrell Facil. The reason we're asking it to be postponed or tabled is because we prepared the traffic study. We spoke with the Highway Department and with Jay, and we prepared we had it already, the traffic impact study. But the Highway Department, there was some confusion. They thought that we were talking about a driveway permit that they had given for the subdivision to the north of us. And so yesterday we found out that now we have to take our traffic study and send it back to the Highway Department for analysis and for comments. And so because of that, we were requesting to table it.
Just to request, or point of information, you want it postponed for 1 month, or what timeline would you like?
Well, based on, 2 would be better than 1 because of the
Okay.
Highway Department.
Hey. Whatever you would like.
Yeah.
All right, so you'd like it postponed then to our June meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public, bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Randolph.
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, we postpone until our June meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Randolph to postpone into our June meeting, a second by Commissioner Matthews. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask for a vote. Motion for postponement carries. Final subdivision review. SD 02-07-019F, Wadsworth, Ward 4, District 5. Developer owner, the ASBE Fund and the Wadsworth Estates LLC. Engineer, GEC Incorporated. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Marty Gould. Developer requests postponement. Staff?
Mr. Chairman, again, similar to the other case, a lot of punch list items are outstanding. The developers request tabling, postponement.
And staff, do we know, did the developer advise when?
Didn't advise. We hope to have it for next month, but we're not sure.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Is the developer or a representative of the developer here? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Well, since there's nobody here to speak, we ought to postpone it, which is their request. I move to postpone for 1 month.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews to postpone until our May meeting, second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I ask for a vote. Motion for postponement carries. Proposed amendments to Ordinance 499. We have none. Old business. SD 07-04-009P. Tantella Ranch, Ward 1, District 3. Developer owner, Bruno Brothers Real Estate Management and Development. Engineer, Aero Engineering and Construction. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. The developer is requesting a name change to Magnolia Mound. Postponed at the March 10th, 2015 meeting. Staff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is related to the preliminary case that was just postponed, therefore we recommend it be postponed as well till the June meeting.
Is there anyone in the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Move to postpone
Second?
1 month.
Till the
Oh,
June meeting.
That's right,
yes.
that's the June one, I forgot. Yes, till the June meeting, please.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews to postpone until our June meeting, a second by Commissioner Randolph. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask for a vote. Motion for postponement carries. Ruel Court, Ward 1, District 1, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Marty Dean. Developers requesting an extension of time to acquire a work order. Postponement at the March 10th, 2015 meeting. Staff?
Yes, the developer's requesting an extension from the approval of the March 11th, 2014 preliminary approval.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Please come to the podium, state your name and address, please.
Good evening. Eddie Powell with Kyle Associates, 638 Village Lane North, Mandeville. I'm here representing the developer, Denham Investments LLC, Mr. Philip Mayu. He couldn't make it this evening, he's out of town, so he asked me to come on his behalf. We've just been working through comments. In fact, I think we're getting close to getting the last round of comments, so we should be getting a work order soon if we've just gone past the 1 year time frame that the original preliminary approval was granted, so we'd just like to ask for an extension to get that wrapped up.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment? Seeing none, I close it to the public. I bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Yes, excuse me, I didn't catch your name.
Eddie Powell with
Mr.
Kyle
Powell,
Associates.
You said you should be getting close to pulling a work order. Can you give me a time frame that might be?
I believe we're expecting one final comment letter from Jeremy's office here in the next few days. So I would venture to say in the next month, we'd at least be able to pull some limited work orders. We got to do some clearing and start the drainage work. There's still, a few loose ends to tie up as far as utilities, but other than that.
Staff, if we approved an extension on this, do we have to do it for a full year?
I guess it would be to what you approved it at. The request is for a full year, so
Mr. Powell, do you have any problems with an extension of 60 days?
I don't believe that would be a problem. Maybe just 90, just to be on the safe side, given that I haven't seen the last round of comments from engineering. So that would probably be a safe bet. But I mean, because once we have at least I guess it's a question. Once we have begin pulling work orders, I mean, we're into the work order phase. So even if it's not an unlimited work order, would that be correct? That we would be able to, continue work. Like we wouldn't have to come back, I guess, is the main thing. I want to make sure.
We just don't like to see these things drag on and on.
Sure,
We've
I
had
understand.
several of these things over the years that are 4
Yeah.
or 5 years old.
I understand.
That's really
I hear you.
unconscionable.
I would say
But if
90
you-
days would be
if you
fair.
take 90 days, I would I would move to extend this for 90 days.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
To approve an extension for 90 days, second by Commissioner Willie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will ask for a vote. Motion for extension carries. Is there any new business that is to be brought forth to this commission? I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion, second by everyone. Thank you.